At least not to everybody.
No, just
It's
don't.
just for you, Kevin.
Hypothetically speaking, hypoth-
Hypothetically.
hypothetically. All right, now he's turned it on.
Da-
Good morning, Vietnam.
Damn it! You weren't supposed to tell her and switch it on. I was hoping she'd really embarrass herself. But okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of this petty and ill-informed podcast, where we venture our petty and ill-informed opinions about a variety of topics. Joining me, as always, from the beautiful Emerald Isle, Kevin.
Hello, how's it going? Top of the
Uh,
morning.
from America, Nikki.
Hey, y'all.
And from 13 Padbury Drive, Kent, Tom.
Yep, here as well. We're all in here. Full house. Game on.
Come
All
on,
right,
you were supposed to be like, come on, I'm a real geezer, mate. I'm a geezer.
They don't talk like that, Ken. That's Essex.
Oh, well, you know, I'm so familiar with the side.
Kent's the posh part of London. Kent's
Oh,
so
is-
posh, they don't
Er.
consider themselves part of London, but you know that.
No. Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway, we've got lots to talk about this week, so we need to move through the topics pretty quickly. First of all, I'm going to get to our hypothetical situation before Nikki has an anxiety attack. So,
Thanks.
there's a bit of a hypothetical situation that's brewed this week. There is a fan of this show, big fan of the show, hypothetically. Let's call her Tabby. And she got herself into a bit of bother earlier in the week when she received a business opportunity from one of her friends. This opportunity was he was going to pay her $5,000, and all she had to do was be the he wanted her to run his music company.
So this isn't a Stacy. This isn't a Stacy situation.
I'm getting there. He
Oh,
wanted
okay.
he wanted her to run his music company and sleep with him
For
Oh,
only $5,000,
for $5,000. Yes.
like a week,
No, just for a one-off payment.
a one-off. But you're gonna continually run their music.
Well, I assume that. I like. You see, because this is what she said as well. The sleeping with him just seemed incidental. Both of you are focusing on the job, which just seems weird to me.
No, listen. Okay, if I need some money and you offer me $5,000 to sleep with you, and I'm single and available, I'm gonna be honest. Depending on how much I want that money, yeah. But you're offering me a lump sum of $5,000 for something that's going to be 40 hours a week forever. Bullshit.
and that's just the sleeping with you part.
I meant the actual job part of running the business.
Oh,
That's the long term. Sleeping with you takes 2 minutes. That's well worth $5,000. But running his company is a full time job forever and ever in perpetuity. So
okay. Wait. I just want to say this. Do we have all the facts yet before we go on a tangent?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that-
it.
is- okay. So it's an indecent proposal situation, sort of.
I
I'm
suppose I
imagining.
could tell you what she planned to spend the money on, but we'll get to that after this.
Okay. So obviously running a music company is not easy. I'm just going to say that. Not
worth
it's
way more than $5,000.
not yeah. Yeah, I mean
That's why I
basically
said $5,000 a week.
right. It would
Oh,
have
right. Sorry. Mysterious hypothetical person. I forgot. There were three things. He wanted to sleep with her, and he wanted her to send him a video of her playing with herself.
Nope.
yeah. And I would
So,
imagine that at that point in time, oh yeah, the job offer's no longer on the table. As
Yeah,
it
I'd be like, listen,
I've already
I'm a
seen you on the
hoe.
table. Why would I need to see you running my company?
man,
Yeah.
I'm
So
still more worried about the job thing because those
Right.
other things could be one offs. But my thing is running
okay,
a company.
first
is
of
a
all,
lot.
never ever, as we know, send a person a video of you doing anything
Agreed.
ever.
And if you do, make sure that you don't have any distinguishing marks. So no face, none of your tattoos.
Yeah, no face. And I would definitely just say, yeah, yeah. I would maybe do that for $5,000, maybe. But again, that would have to be one of those things. Who's gonna want to see me jacking?
Well,
for $5,000?
in this situation, someone's offering you $5,000.
No, Kevin's really serious. Who wants to see him jacket for $5,000? He's
Yeah,
offering.
exactly.
Opening bids $5,000. All right, guys.
Yeah,
You can be reached on Facebook at any time.
yeah, but I'm gonna have to shave all my pubes off because right now it says I love salmon.
It just seems to me like everyone doesn't give a shit about the sex part. It's the
No.
videos of the job that everybody's like,
Yeah,
well,
because if he
that's
says,
just
yeah, I had
messed up, man.
listen, how many people say that they've had sex with people that they have never had sex with? Happens all the time.
Absolutely.
I've actually.
How many people have said, I'm going to run your full ass company forever and ever for just one lump sum of $5,000?
Yeah,
Like, that
exactly.
person is dumb.
Anybody can say that they've slept with anybody. That's my thing.
Exactly.
I know, honestly, the funny part about it is I've had women say that about me.
That they've slept with you?
Yeah.
And
I
they didn't?
haven't. No, I haven't.
Do you
No,
are you
it's,
sure you weren't drunk and you don't remember?
I'm positive. Absolutely positive.
I'd be
I'm
more. I'd expect
not-
it to have been the other way round.
no, I mean, because unless I've actually been with somebody, I wouldn't. Okay, first of all, I would never say that I've been with somebody. I let people assume that,
Mhm.
but I never actually say that because it's nobody's business, first of all. Second of all, I'm very discreet. That's the second thing. And, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't want to put somebody in that position of saying that I had or hadn't do it. I hadn't done it. So,
All right, ladies, he's sweetening the pot. Discretion is guaranteed. It's
Mhm.
only
yes,
going to cost you $5,000. It's a good deal. That's all we're saying. I might take him up on it myself.
yeah, discretion is my middle name.
There,
You got
that's an
Cash
easy.
App, Venmo, Zelle.
That's an
Yeah.
easy $10,000 right off the bat.
I mean,
There you go.
I do say, some very provocative things, but I don't say it about, people I've been with. Unless it's Sam, because, that's fine. Everybody knows it was Sam, so that's fine. But I don't say provocative things about her too much because she is a very good pistol shooter and she does shoot professionally. So why bother?
I'm still engaged to Sam.
Yeah, she'd shoot my dick off.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just,
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You're her woman girlfriend,
yeah.
quote unquote, hypothetical girlfriend.
Did you watch that video I sent you, Kevin, about how to accidentally marry her?
Have a friendship ceremony where she wears a white dress and you're in a tuxedo.
Yeah, just sign these documents here. Quick.
It's
That's not.
it's a friendship party.
It's a friendship document. Okay.
Yes, it's all it is. Just sign this guest book, and we just have to have 2 witnesses that you signed it.
And now we'll be friends forever.
Yes.
Legally friends. in a
Legally
court of
friends
law.
for all
Do
time.
you remember? Okay, have you ever? This is the funny part about it. You know that royal people used to get married with a surrogate.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes you could just show up and say, "Okay, yeah, I'm standing in for this person." who's
Yeah,
not here."
absolutely. Yeah, they used to do that all the time because if they didn't have the time or whatever, hey Stuart, go marry so and so for me and bring her back.
Yeah,
It happened, and that's what they would do. They would stand in for
yeah.
prince or whatever. Yeah,
I mean, but obviously, you were not supposed to consummate the marriage in their name.
right.
That's the only reason I'd go.
I mean, to me, that's like, that's part of the job, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
All right, I had
Yeah.
to consummate this marriage for you before
Yeah,
I
you got to seal the deal in the eyes of the
yeah,
church.
yeah. Don't worry. We did everything to make sure the marriage is legal.
Yeah.
Everything.
everything.
It's legal, baby. You can't annul this bad boy.
You might have an error on the way already. You don't know.
There's no, you're not going to get this one annulled. Trust me.
So are you saying, you know what? That's what we should do. Like I could just stand in for you. We won't tell Sam, She'll
Right.
think she's marrying me since we're already engaged.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe that's what we should
Yeah,
do with this
but
Gabby
it's got to be
scenario.
a
Do
friendship
the old
ceremony.
switcheroo.
Okay.
The old
Okay.
switcheroo.
If we sign it, if we hypothetically stand in for Tabby in the case,
Yeah.
can I not be the surrogate? I mean,
Kevin could totally be the
yeah, for $5,000, I'll show up and pump him.
You could split it. So it's $5,000.
Well,
You
I
could
was
both get
planning on splitting it.
2,500.
I was
Oh,
planning on
yeah, you were
splitting
gonna
it, but
split
I'm
it
not
right down
talking
the
about the
middle.
money. Bend over and I'll split it, buddy. You better have that $5,000.
You better have that $5,000, man.
Yeah, make sure you pay him up front in cash.
All right. I feel like
it's getting out of control.
this is getting to low, all-time low right now.
It's not as bad as Saltburn.
Although, to be fair, this is pretty raunchy. We've talked about raunchy stuff. We've never had a strike on the channel before, but last week's episode was struck down.
It was?
Yeah, I think it was because of the
Hold up, I don't-
Israeli-Palestine thing.
Oh, because
Maybe
we talked about it in terms of people.
Yeah, so I'm just mentioning it, and we're not going to discuss it. But
Yeah, because
it wasn't because of your last warning, your hypothetical warning to the fans where you just cussed everybody out, told them they can go fuck themselves for you.
didn't say that to everyone. I just pointed. No, I'm not getting into it. But
yeah, no, we did get striked because I kept on going to look, listen back at it, and come Sunday, I was like, Richard's not up. So yeah, we talked bad.
So
we
they
got
took
naughty.
Did they take it off the air?
yeah, it's gone.
Oh wow! And that was the one that everybody liked the most.
Was it? Because it never popped up.
It was like 8 or 9 people liked it. We never get that much.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
People.
No, I'm saying that there was 20 views and 8 people liked it.
Yeah, see, I kept on waiting for it to pop up and be, officially uploaded or whatever. Because sometimes it takes a couple of hours before it pops up.
I honestly didn't find anything controversial about those statements. Anything that we said.
It might have been because I finally lost it with that with a fan. It might be because we talked about Israeli-Palestine. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but last week's episode is gone.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, we finally made it the big time. We violated TOS so bad they took down a video.
I look at it like this. We must be in the conservative radio business that they hit us.
Yeah.
Because they don't take down liberal stuff. Just
the lamestream media is trying to put us in our place. Fake news, alternative truth.
Yeah, that's right.
That is a great sentence. I use that a lot. If anyone calls me a liar, I say I'm telling alternative truths. That's good stuff. Love it. So we talked about the hypothetical situation. What else? Right, yes. So, for those of you in the old fan base that, like me, enjoy the old birds, it's been a banner week in sunny England for bird life. We've had an invasion of waxwings.
I heard that the exact wrong way because you said if you're like me and into old birds.
I know.
Hypothetically, your
we were all
girlfriend's
thinking
not gonna
Tom
like
loves
that.
grandmas.
Who does?
Tom.
About.
Anyway, if Kevin and Nikki are quite done with their perverted attempts at humour. We've had ourselves a nice little invasion of waxwings this last 2 weeks. Don't know why, but for whatever reason, they've been making their way down from Iceland across all of England, and you can see them everywhere at the moment, and it's great.
Cool.
Oh, what's a waxwing, Richard? Well, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, that I was waiting for that. I figured I didn't want to be the first one to ask.
Well, a
I just didn't
waxwing.
care. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Fine. What
I'm
do you want to
teasing.
talk about?
No, I'm teasing.
I
With
had
waxwing.
topics
Tell me-
prepared. What do you want to talk about?
I
Mrs.
was
Know-it-all?
fucking with
You know what?
Tell me the story about your wax wings.
When he saw Peregrine Falcon, I could say
That was the sweetest.
he almost
thing.
was in sexual ecstasy. That's
He
all I'm going to say
was.
about
That was. That was.
And then you're poo-pooing on it.
Listen. I was fucking with him. Tell the rest of your story, Richard. I just wanted to be mean to you. I haven't talked to you all
seeing
week.
that Peregrine Falcon was a pretty rare treat, to be fair. Okay.
He was so excited. It was a genuine moment of joy for you. I love seeing it.
Well, it's just nice to, we were out there. The view was spectacular. I had a hot woman in my arms, and then we saw a Peregrine Falcon. It was pretty much a perfect day.
You were next to my wife whenever that happened, baby.
Yeah, I know.
You had a hot woman in your arms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not your wife.
Yeah,
Common law.
Bruh. Your friend. Not your wife.
De facto wife. Thanks,
Your friend.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Richard. Thanks. Why don't you send over some sea salt? I can rub it right into the wound.
And
Sorry.
some lemon juice.
Sorry. No, that was a great day. It was worth the 3-hour round trip for lunch, just for that.
For lunch, and we got to see Giant's Causeway.
We got to see Giant's Causeway.
And we got to stop in that gas station in the middle of nowhere that sold shovels. And Richard wouldn't get out of the car because it was in the middle of the countryside, and he didn't want to get lynched.
I know what the Irish do to the English. All right.
That was mid-Ulster, buddy. You would have not had a problem there.
Yeah, that's just what they tell you to lure you into a false sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have gone in there and said something particularly British, and they'd have just jumped on me.
No, they would have said, "We're British too, man."
Anywho, so the Peregrine Falcon was awesome. Glad we saw it. But yes, waxwings. So waxwings are incredibly pretty birds. They're the size of starlings, and they're creamy peach color. They have purple eyeshadow and a crest. And we do get them seasonally, but only in the far north of Scotland. That's as far south as they usually go. But because of climate change or lack of food or whatever, they have invaded England in droves, and there's flocks of them everywhere, and it's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Failing ecosystem. Well, I'm glad. They sound really pretty. I'm going to have to look up a picture.
I like that. They got peachy colored breasts and purple eyeshadow.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
That sounds like Richard's internet history.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not my internet history at all, Tom.
You can't talk
enough
about
to make
it or else
sane man go mad.
you're going to be stricken off again.
Yeah.
He likes being strict
So
off.
do you think that we have to put in there like it's PG or something? Do you have to put that in first?
We might. I don't know. We might want to do like a little, hey, we cussing here.
Or disclaimer?
Yeah.
Well, I click
adults only.
Click not for kids. When I published a video and I put it into the adults only section. So I don't know what else you can do.
Yeah, you really can't do anything else. It's cool. It's not like we're monetized or anything anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're going to get deplatformed or cancelled. I mean, we'd have to be people.
Exactly.
Oh no, we
We
got
better not become people though, because then we
we
will definitely get
we
canceled.
got canceled by the cancel culture.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
preemptively cancelled.
Yeah,
preemptively canceled.
we
They
went
already
woke,
knew.
and we
That's what
already are
happened.
broke.
Mhm. So right, yeah. So that's been awesome. See waxwings everywhere. So did anyone go down any cool rabbit holes this week?
I
Um,
did.
I sent you that. I don't know if you watched that video, but I sent it to you.
Oh,
Where-
yeah.
The guy who is a Google Earther, and he just goes all over Google Earth, and so he
Travels the world.
looked at South Africa, Antarctica, and he found this thing that looks like Pac-Man on it. And then whenever he clicked on it, it showed an office building, which proves as a fact that parts of Antarctica are not actually frozen because there's an office building. There's an
Yeah,
office building there. And if you look out the window, there's trees. But I did try to verify that, and there was no office building. There was a thing that looked like a Pac-Man whenever you scroll into the side of it.
Yeah.
But I think that might have something to do with the fact that, Google Earth is stitched together. And,
Yeah, I was about to say it could have just been a glitch.
Yeah, so there's a glitch there, although that is positive proof that there is. I would imagine a Second World War Nazi bunker that looks like an office building with trees outside. But, I'm just saying. And, we do start wars with different countries, but however, there's never a war in Antarctica, even though it's split up a few different ways. So take that.
I mean, you'd have to be pretty committed to war to want to fight in Antarctica, to be fair.
what?
I mean,
What? War in Antarctica? Jeez.
you'd have to be like the kind of bloke that, wears like Union Jack underwear and knows all the lyrics to God Save the Queen and,
but
really,
isn't there a story about, there's some conspiracy theory that a U.S. Army sent a bunch of people down to, that after the Second World War, and, some laser guided guns were shot at it or something. I don't know. There's definitely a story about it, Richard. It's a conspiracy theory.
There's a conspiracy theory about something that happens somewhere with lasers.
That the U.S. Navy sent on all these boats to Antarctica, and it was met by Nazi planes with lasers on it, and they destroyed it. Google it.
Okay. No, I'll take your word for it. But as my statement stands, you'd have to be very committed to war to fight in Antarctica. Okay, I'm just saying. At a certain point, patriotic duty would just be like, you know what, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, that's why they got Norwegians to do it. We should just hire Norwegian mercenaries to fight our wars.
Wasn't it Norwegian or Dane that got to the South Pole first instead of Captain Oates?
Amundsen?
Yeah, Roald Amundsen, who was indeed Norwegian, and it was people normally say Captain Scott's name first. I think because he led the party, and it was the Terra Nova expedition. He was in charge of it.
Yeah, he died, so screw him.
Yeah. I showed my dad an episode of Red Dwarf once, and I think it was White Hole where they're playing pool with planets, and I think that I'm pretty sure that had the Captain Oates alternative theory from Rimmer, which is one of my favourite scenes. How do we
If
know
that had
that?
been me, if
Well-
that had been me, I'd have beaten Scott over the head with a frozen husky and munched him down with the last packet of
Of
feet to the
instant
man.
mash.
Yeah, no, that's very much my philosophy as well. I'd have been like, well, only one of us is surviving this, and it's gonna be me. So, num 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 num.
Human beings do resort to cannibalism when it's a matter of life and death.
Yeah, look at the Donner Party. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
A
look at the
doner
ones that
kebab party.
survive. Good one, Tom.
That was horribly bad taste. Jeez, sorry, it just occurred to me. Jeez.
Actually, I'm told human flesh tastes quite nice. What about
How would anyone know? They'd have to eat it to
You know.
know.
Cannibals
Ew.
aren't always shunned. I mean, the survivors of the Donner Party went on to live, pretty reasonable lives. One of them even opened a restaurant.
Yeah, well, actually, I do. Despite my off-color humor a moment ago, I do actually have huge respect for the Donner Party because growing up as a teenager, I just found a documentary on Channel 4 called Death of a Wagon Train. And I watched it and recorded it and I played it back over and over. It was so powerful and so sad. Those poor people got caught in the mountains by one day. The storms came, the snowdrifts came one day too early, I think it was. And these people were trapped with almost no food, or possibly literally no food for a few months in these huts there to quickly whack up together out of whatever they could find. And it was terrible. It's a miracle.
I think it also was a lot more traumatizing back then than it would be today, because a lot of that stuff wasn't talked about or whatever. Whereas if I were stuck, say with the three of you somewhere in like Antarctica or something, I don't think I'd feel bad about eating you if that's what I needed to do to survive, because it's far more talk. I mean, we understand cannibalism. Back then they were like, oh no, I have to do this to survive. I feel so bad. Bob, I can't believe I did that.
Oh,
And
I don't.
I would just be like, meh.
Oh, I wouldn't even try to fight you guys on that. I'd happily be first to go. I'd be like, yep.
I would wait for the first person to keel over, but just know as soon as you draw your last breath, your lunch.
Oh, I willingly. I would.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would expect someone to eat me. Like, make me useful.
Well, I'd happily give my life to save you guys in that
I,
situation.
I think that in the
It is so
Navy,
weird.
that, I mean, especially back in the British Navy days, whenever they were doing all that, it wasn't all that rare. If you were stranded on some sort of a situation where you didn't
Right,
have
to
any,
but there wasn't like social media. There wasn't ways for that. It wasn't common knowledge, as
No.
far as like the Donner Party. They probably have never heard about cannibalism. Like, this was just I'm starving. Bob's here.
Mhm.
He's dead. I'm gonna have to desecrate his body. Sorry,
Right.
Jesus.
Has
That had to have
anybody
been
ever
super
thought of
traumatizing.
opening a kebab shop on the Donner Pass? The
There
That
is
would
a
be-
picnic spot
There is a
commemorating where
picnic
they
spot,
fell.
but not a Donner kebab shop.
That would be hilarious.
I don't feel that as bad for the Donner Party as I do for
kind
the
of-
Death Valley 49ers that happened 3 years after the Donner
Oh,
Party.
we've covered this, haven't we?
Yeah,
We've
where they
covered
were like,
both.
they were like, well, you know what? They tried going over the mountains. We'll try cutting through the Mojave Desert. I'm like, well, you're definitely not going to get snowed in there, but still, is that a wise idea? Just camp at the bottom of the mountains, guys. Just wait the winter out. Although, I feel like a crazy person for suggesting that.
That would make too much
Uh,
sense.
Nikki, you said you'd been down a rabbit hole this week. What was that?
Well, remember, so last week I had 3 different things to talk about. We talked about one for like 30 seconds and then went on this long tangent. So I kind of have an conspiracy theory.
Okay.
that I've been looking into. So there's a conspiracy theory that the Mandela effect is that, you know, how they have different thought process for the Mandela effect. Some people think it's time travelers. Some people think it's, you know, all sorts of different things, alternate realities that crash into each other, you know, and then you have the perfectly reasonable, everybody has false memories. And when you have a group of people that all are online together, it's easy to impression, you know, make people believe that, you know, implant basically a false memory of something like how Berenstein Bears is spelled. But then you have this theory that basically it is the government or the shadow government secretly seeing, like they're testing the waters to see how much they can kind of change and make us question ourselves, but then us go, oh, okay, that's fine. So, like, you know, it doesn't have to be anything big, but when you've been eating Jiffy your whole life and they change it to Jif, you know, if they can convince you that something you've seen your whole life is different, what else can they do later on as they change history? So it's just, there's a conspiracy theory that it is a test to see essentially what they can make us forget that we have known this whole time. That way they can rewrite things that are even bigger later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting theory.
It's an anti-conspiracy conspiracy.
It's like, was Snickers ever actually called a marathon?
Well, and you know, it's kind of like the thing where I grew up, honestly, and it could be a false memory thing, believing that the Statue of Liberty was on Ellis Island. I had never heard of Independence Island before. Just like I don't remember ever learning about an attack on the Statue of Liberty. Maybe that was just something that we didn't have. Maybe it is something that didn't actually happen.
Well, there was
The Statue of Liberty is on Ellis Island.
no, it's not.
No,
It's on Liberty Island.
It's Liberty, Liberty, not Independence.
Yeah.
It's Liberty Island. Yeah.
It's on a I mean it doesn't mean it's not. I don't think it might be attached, but I mean it's on a separate island. But anyway,
Yeah.
But-
And I mean, it would make sense just from the thing that we learned more about Ellis Island than we did about where the Statue of Liberty is. So we probably just assumed that they were together.
yeah. And are you talking about the big explosion that happened in the Second World War, the First World War?
Yeah, I guess so. Against for the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole thing, but I was like, I do not remember there being an attack on the Statue of Liberty at all. But
Well,
I mean,
it wasn't meant to be on the Statue of Liberty. They were supposed to. There was a ship there that was started on fire or something like that, and the explosion that they were talking about that happened in a harbor that exploded everywhere was a British ship that actually an ammunition ship that blew up in the middle of Halifax harbor, and it literally flattened the whole entire town. Halifax. I think that was one of those things where they got the two facts put together. There was a bomb that went off in New York in the First World War era, but yeah, they tried to cover that up and didn't talk about it much because there wasn't a lot of. I mean, back then there wasn't a lot of incentive for America to be on one side or the other,
right.
and because there was such a large German population in America, you know, they didn't want to sort of step on anybody's toes. There was a lot of people that actually said we should enter into the war on Germany's side and not for the British side. But you know, and you know, a lot of people don't know that there was a lot of actually German speaking people in America during the times of the Revolutionary War, and it was considered for a time that America be a dual linguistic country with where they would have German and English documents for government. Not a lot of people know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's a
But yeah,
little bit of history that nobody talks about.
but yeah, I went down this rabbit hole of people believing that, like Gabby said, akin to Winston in 1984, just someone, just sitting there slowly changing history, which would make sense in some ways, but I really do believe it's honestly a collective, you know, misinformation because we're so impressionable as human beings. We misremember things all the time. So,
Well, that's just even the glossing over of history where you don't talk about a lot of different things. I think that, happened. And
yeah,
you don't want to talk about, that kind of thing. It's kind of like that, just kind of whitewashing the past, if that's the
yeah,
correct term.
yes, yeah, that would be the current term. And then let's see, the other thing I was going to talk about, which is super old news now, is the whole Miami Alien Mall thing, which is stupid. I don't know if y'all know about the Miami Alien Mall
Yeah, you made me
thing.
look into it. It's obviously bullshit. But
It's so bullshit. But honestly, it would be so easy for the cops to prove otherwise.
hmm.
Show some body cam footage. That's all you need. Because you have people going, where are all these videos of all these kids getting into fights and, with sticks and lighting off fireworks? There's absolutely none. In which case, there's also absolutely no film footage of actual aliens that aren't obviously AI or just really shoddy camera work.
Yeah, but we're talking about conspiracy theories where it's like Bigfoot. The lack of evidence proves it that that is
Right.
evidence.
But that's how they feel about it because I mean, how did you see the pictures of the response that was given at this mall?
Yeah.
I've never seen so many cops ever. I think they said like 150 showed up. 4 kids got, tossed in jail, but supposedly it was a bunch of kids with some sticks and some fireworks that were freaking people out in the mall. But, you have active shooters in schools and not that many people show up. So I think that that's part of it, that they had that huge of a response over some kids fighting, but you could have people with actual live ammunition shooting up other kids in schools and stuff. And we just send out 3 cop cars and make sure the parents don't go inside, even though we're not going to do anything.
Yeah, but see
Um,
that's the problem. Is not the problem with having the police the way we do. We do. I mean, if that
yeah,
happened in Miami, and it's a lot different than happening in BFE, where there's three
that's
people.
true.
Yeah,
That's
there's
true.
three
But I'm
people on the
saying,
entire police force.
but they basically 150 people, they shut down some of the power on that part. I know that they didn't actually stop flights. They said that they did, but that hasn't been confirmed. But they did, shut down some of the power, and it's just like, usually if you've got a bunch of teenagers being stupid, lighting off fireworks and stuff, you're probably going to have some video footage of it. There's no footage anywhere at all. And I think that that's what makes people suspicious is 150 cop cars, 4 teenagers had sticks, not guns, sticks. They were specified as being sticks and fireworks. 150 police cars showed up and you guys like took out some power grid, to make sure that you got it and responded. It doesn't make sense. Whereas the cops could easily just go, here's some body footage, body cam footage. Here you go.
I don't think
Did
it was aliens. I think it was a terrorist attack or something.
I,
It
I, I
wasn't.
think I think that there was definitely something going on. I don't think it was, interdimensional beings like everybody is saying, because aliens isn't what everybody is describing. They're basically saying like, which the videos is bullshit. It's very fake. It's obviously in China, and then they put in the Doctor Strange portal in it. But supposedly what people are saying is that a portal like opened up and these beings that were like 10 feet tall came out of it, but they weren't fully corporeal. They were like fading in and out of existence, kind of almost like glitching in and out of reality, is what they said. My thing is something happened, and it wasn't 4 kids with sticks,
No,
but who
I think
knows what it is.
I think Richard's right.
Yeah, it could be a terrorist attack. It could have been a bajillion different things. I don't think it was aliens, but the fact that the cops haven't said, here's some footage, is just proof
Yeah.
that something is happening.
Well, I've said this before about the power grid in America, that it's like put together with sellotape.
Oh,
And
it's terrifying. I was watching a
yeah,
thing, and one of the guys, they were asking him, like, what is the scariest thing that you know about America, that you could tell us, because he was a government agent, and basically he was like, listen, the smallest little attack will kill our infrastructure. We're talking 6 months, years, no
mhm,
water, no electricity. People will die
right,
because we rely on all of that. He goes, just one little thing, and this whole system's gone.
right. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's the thing. There was some people got in trouble around Washington State. I think it was around here that's they actually were shooting at transformers, and they were being able to blow them up. So I mean, literally like 5 or 6 people could take down a whole power grid,
Mm-hmm.
and in a certain section. And this will probably get us struck off again, but anyway, that and so I think that's one of those things where, yeah, that would be an appropriate response, in my opinion, to somebody doing that, especially
Yeah.
if there was a power failure for a while.
Yeah, it was
That's the
like
way.
30% of the city or something. It was a nominal amount. I mean, that's still a lot, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like they shut down all of Miami or anything like that. Though, I mean, I guess if you were around the mall, you probably wouldn't be able to go anywhere because the police response was so massive. But the thing is, the only thing that makes it suspicious to me is that the cops, like, just release 5 minutes of body footage, like body cam footage, just show some kids fighting. We'll feel better about life. But having that kind of response to what they're saying it doesn't make sense. And the fact that we don't have live footage on like Facebook or anything of these kids setting off fireworks, because they would be Instagram, they'd be on TikTok showing live streams of them setting off these fireworks in the mall. They don't have any of that.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
no one.
America, America doesn't have the brilliant the UK response to anything that happens like that, which is unexploded World War II bomb.
Yeah, right. Like, we just found this. Yeah, no, we don't have
Anything
anything
that happens
like
like that, like a gas explosion or something like that,
that.
unexploded World War II bomb. Just right. If you hear that, it's code word for you're not fine tonight about it.
Yeah.
You don't need to know what it was. All right.
No.
But why don't
Man, that was scary. Because there were a bunch of unexploded bombs in London all over the country after World War II. I mean, they're all probably defunct now, but still scary though for a few years after the war ended, I imagine. Tom, do you have any rabbit holes you went down this week?
Interesting. Couple of things spring to mind. I've had to look at pretty deeply at myself and why it is that I am too shy of conflict. I mean, I have a massive. Have you heard of cognitive bias? It's things that, it's a complicated word for a very simple idea. It's just things that from your past that influence you, or things that influence you and just particularly skew your thinking in a way that you might that rationally doesn't make sense. And there's a list of hundreds of them, and we're all affected by hundreds of them all the time. That either that consciously or subconsciously influence us. And I think I've got a heavy cognitive bias against interpersonal conflict. so much so that I am sort of too willing to recede in, and I'm speaking very vaguely, and I apologize for that, but I'm not going to go into specifics here. But I think I'm sort of asking myself why it is I've got a real aversion to confrontations. I'm about as tough and intimidating as Rex the dinosaur from fucking Toy Story. I mean, it's I am that much of a wuss at times, and I've been talking to Nikki a bit during the week about this, and maybe a bit indirectly, but about this and about why it might be that
Well, I mean, like, when you were growing up, did you have very dominant parents when it came to that? Like, do you think maybe you were maybe invalidated for your thought processes growing up, and therefore you don't feel like they have any kind of weight now that you're older?
I think that would, if it's that sort of thing, I think it's probably from, most specifically, I think it's from the second of the three major relationships I've had in my life.
Got you.
I think it's most likely that, where, I mean, that was a funny thing. I mean, I should have known. I had a different cognitive bias at the time, which I may get into in a moment if I can remember, but I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole right now. But this it was a miracle that we lasted as long as we did, because our total philosophies towards life were different, so different. Mine was be as nice to people as you can, be honest with yourself, and be a better person wherever you can be. Never stop learning and stuff like that,
Stuff to
but
better
her,
yourself.
yeah, basically, or try to be.
Yeah,
Maybe I watched too many episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, but anyway,
me too, dude.
try and do that. Whereas hers, quite openly and brazenly, her philosophy was screw everyone over before they can screw you.
Yeah.
She said that.
So accurate.
Yeah, see, I was just thinking that's like a Richard and my dynamic, because I am the everybody, is redeemable, and people, I believe want to be decent, but hurt people. So there's always a reason why so and so is this way. And I do give excuses for people where I don't need to. However, this is where you and I are different. So in my personal life, I'm not afraid of verbally kicking some ass and just discussing hard stuff, whether I want to or not. It's professional. I have issues because if I'm not in a place of authority, like I've been a leader in my professional life since I think my first management job was like I was 15. I was a shift manager at 15, so that's always been a thing. I'm very naturally used to leading people. However, when I am the peon in the situation, because I'm having a situation at work right now, I might actually be going and suing them if things don't get better. I'm currently taking the steps to put those processes into place so that when it comes time, I can sue and I have all my ducks in a row. I did everything I could. Um, but I have a hard time standing up for myself when it's a person of a higher position in a job, because my thing is I expect people to respect me. I'm going to be respectful for you if you're my superior. I have a hard time standing up for myself at work when it's somebody that is over me. And you just
Yeah,
have a hard time. You just roll over in general. But it's because you don't feel like, I guess you don't feel like you're worth the respect, but you absolutely are. And,
yeah.
That's why I was wondering if
Yeah.
maybe somebody invalidated you. So maybe she did invalidate you enough that you don't feel like, I can give. The thing is, you need to remember that your thought processes are valuable. In your current situation, you're the boss guy. You're the one that's in charge. You're the one that if they mess up, that's on you. So they're your responsibility too, as much as the kids are. And you treat them as equals, but you also need to know when to put your foot down in the right place. So, yeah. I need to learn how to put my foot down to superiors.
Well, I think that's that's a natural thing, Nikki, especially whenever you start into the workforce at that age.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I started working when I was 12.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of those things where you made a good point because a lot of time, well, one of the points I was going to make is that maybe this was with Tom like a class thing, because like if you grew up on the council estate, you don't, you almost look for conflict because that idea of I'm going to take care of you before you even have a chance, that's kind of the way it is. Whereas if you had sort of a middle class or an upper class, you know, background, then maybe you weren't taught not to be into conflict and things can work out. You can use your other skills, your mental skills to overcome things and that. But when you are entered into a situation like what you say, where you're young, impressionable, and enter into a hierarchical situation where you're taught to respect those people above
Mhm.
you, then it is very, very difficult. I have the same problem with that.
Yeah, especially when I'm naturally born to. Okay, so I'm incredibly, like I said, it's a 100% professional thing.
Yeah.
Because inside, when I step into a place, I'm automatically distrusting of management and authority in general. I don't like authority. I'm very anti-establishment kind of person. I don't respect authority because it's authority. In fact, if you have that kind of thing, I'm going to distrust you until you prove that you're worthy of having that position. But if I am a peon in a company, I will kind of bow my head and put my nose to the grinder because that's not my position. I've been a manager who's been questioned and it sucks. So I always make sure that when I go to management with an issue, I not only have my ducks in a row of this, and this, and I have proof, but I also have a solution or
Right.
several that they can choose from to fix it. Um, like basically I got verbally threatened with assault um by a surgeon last week. And I called up the director of the surgery center and I said, hey, this person did this. I'm not saying I'll never scrub with them again or I want you to give me any kind of special whatever. I am requesting that you don't make me scrub with him. I offered to go to different locations. uh I gave them all sorts of stuff. I got my schedule Thursday and it's the same exact schedule as I've had this entire time.
Right.
So I work 4 days a week. I am expected to scrub with this person 3 days a week. And so I went ahead, I got all my ducks in a row. If he says boo to me, I go directly to HR. If they don't fix it and he says boo to me again, I go to the EEOC because I've went through all of the steps that I need to go to. And it's because you can sue people for harassment, and I've been dealing with this for 3 years. But
Yeah.
he had never threatened to physically assault me until this past week, and that's when I was like, "Okay, that's enough."
Jeez. I mean, I mean, obviously, only say what you can on a channel like this.
Uh,
But what? Can you tell us any more about the
oh,
threat?
absolutely, yeah. So, this person is there's a lot of stuff going on at my work. This person is notoriously bad about caring about the best interest of his patients. That's the best way I can put it. Um, we were about to do a surgery. They were going to be coming in about an hour, so I had plenty of time. I grabbed all the stuff. I grabbed an instrument. It was dirty. because the peel pack, so it was a sharp instrument and it had poked through the packaging, which means it's not sterile anymore. So I was like, I'm going to sterilize this. And he says, you don't have to. And I was like, no, I'm going to. So I sterilized it. Well, sometimes crap happens because like you have to open packages a very specific way. Sometimes they will cling to stuff, but you can't actually touch the instrument that's in the package when you're opening it up. So it's a very special way of doing it. Anyway, things drop on the floor because you're not, it's not like you're placing something on there. You literally have to hold a package like a foot above whatever you're trying to put it on that's sterile. So this thing, after I sterilized it, fell onto the floor whenever I went to open it onto the pack. And he absolutely lost his mind, continued to berate me, and then basically threatened to drag me outside. And he paused for a long time because I know that he was going to threaten to beat the hell out of me or throttle me or whatever. He was looking for something that was more accepted than whatever he wanted to say after, I'm going to drag you outside. And then he threatened to cut off all my hair with a diamond blade. So I was like, that's great. But no, he's constantly, he's called me autistic. He's called me slow. It is a constant barrage of stuff.
Well,
Like,
why don't you just go to the EEOC then? I wouldn't even.
you have to, because I've already done all the research. The EEOC, you have to take specific steps before they'll even really look at your case. Right. So you have to have all of these things in, that way, because basically what the EEOC does is they go, okay, we're going to investigate. And so they need all of that stuff. And I've got plenty of it. And then they tell you whether or not you have a case. If you have a case, you have 90 days to sue.
Well,
but it is daily abuse.
Does your state have a human rights department or something? Some states do, where you go and you can say that your human rights are being violated. I mean, I know that sounds awfully woke. So
yeah, that seems so bad.
Yeah.
That's why I was just like, I'm going to get them for harassment. That's if I don't leave, because I almost had to, they know we're having this issue, and I almost had to scrub every single case with them the other day instead of going back and forth, because usually we split it between two people. I was ready to walk out then. So I think.
Yeah, but you see, that's a tactic, and you know that, right? I mean, places will try to get you to quit so that you don't have a case.
Yep.
And so the fact that your schedule didn't change doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
That's what everybody else said. Yeah. I've been told, they probably just want you to quit. But I do have 2 managers I know are trying to get rid of this person. Yeah. So
I understand that, but
those people are pissed off. But the other ones, yeah.
But that's, I mean, and it is that thing about surgeons. In general, I'm going to make this statement in general. Being sort of having psycho.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. There's very, like, I love all of my surgeons except for this one person. And literally there have been days where I've had 5 other scrubs around me, and I've offered them $50 to scrub for this person. They will not they don't want to be in the room with them. Everybody hates him. He's had a lot of issues. So yeah, he's an issue. But there's
his point is well, nobody can do it as good as I do. So
yeah, and he's the worst one we got. So I plan on, like I said, I'm getting my ducks in a row. I'm just gonna sit there. If I find like a remote job or something that is comparable, then I'll probably leave because it's in my best interest. But I'm gonna stay until I find something that I really feel comfortable with. And if in that time he continues to harass me, I have no problem suing.
Right.
I've already talked to the quality manager about it. I told her, I was like, I'll go to the EEOC, and she told me she would back me.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the only that's the only time that you can actually get. I mean, the funny part about it is the other managers, they want to get rid of them. The only way you can get rid of somebody is if you sue them, and the insurance company just says, look, we can't have this guy hired anymore. It's just one of those things where he's too much of a liability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that it works.
I just hate going to human resources. I say it on here all the time. I don't believe in human resources. They're for the company. They're not for the employee.
Mhm.
They're useless, but I'm gonna
But
have to
but
do
it is a good stage of documentation. That's all.
it. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep,
it.
got to get that all written down and accounted for.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that, I mean, that's what I would say is, you know, that's just one of those things where, yeah, they get away with it to a certain stage, and then all of a sudden it all gets on top of them, you know, at that point in time. But that's the way that goes. They have that
Yeah.
air of superiority and invincibility, because literally everybody backs them up.
Yeah, and I wonder if, like Gabby's saying, I wonder if they're keeping me there because they know that I'm gonna take those steps and they want him out. So let him hang himself.
Yeah. Well, that's a logical progression.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I just hate it because I'm not. I genuinely love my job. I love what I do. I love most of the people I work with. You know. Um, it's
Yeah.
just crazy, and that's not the only thing that's been going on in my job. Like there's I'm probably I'm looking for office jobs because I have a feeling whenever I get done with this place, I'm going to be blacklisted. It's very easy to be blacklisted from the community, um, in the workforce. But there are things that need to be taken care of because I care about my patients too. Like I got into the medical field. I could be making more money in an office, not killing myself. But I chose a medical field because I love helping people. So I'm going to protect my patients. And I just have a feeling that my medical career is going to be over. And that's okay. Like, at least I'll have went out doing what needed to be done for the betterment of patients and fellow coworkers.
Yeah, that person's a dick. Anyway, they should be the ones blacklisted, not you.
It's terrible, Nikki. I believe you entirely over this. I've no doubt whatsoever that you're
Yeah,
telling it exactly the way it is. I mean, that sounds ghastly.
but I have a hard time standing up to him because and the thing is like, if he ever pulled me aside and said, "Hey," I've had surgeons pull me aside. Surgeons are crazy people. Like some of them really are, but a lot of them will at least pull you aside and say, "This is what's going on." This person has never done that. They've belittled me, and they've like they hold things against me from 3 years ago when I was literally just first scrubbing. I was fresh out of school. So,
Yeah, but you see, this is the power imbalance that's in the system too. Because
100%.
if you said to him, "Hey, listen, I need you to, I'm not doing that because I think it's wrong," and then
Mhm.
they were said, "Oh, well, you're being insubordinate." You
They
know
do
what I
that all the
mean?
time. We got a massive we had a surgical tech stand up for herself, and it was so ugly. I ended up texting the director and I was basically like she was well within her rights to refuse to scrub in those circumstances. This isn't correct. She was protecting patients, she was protecting yada yada. You better not fuss at her. And everybody was texting this woman, but then we all got a mass text in the surgery center that says, "I don't care if you're a PCT or a nurse or a scrub tech, it doesn't matter what's going on. If the surgeon says we're doing the surgery, we're doing the surgery. It doesn't matter if the patient's about to have a stroke or actively having a seizure. It doesn't matter if that surgeon says, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do it." And that's messed up. It puts a really nasty taste in everyone's mouths because nurses are putting their license on the line. They should be
Yeah.
able to stand up to a
Yeah,
surgeon because the
blimey.
surgeon's thinking, not all of them, but they should, surgeons, some of them only see money. I'm not saying all of them. I work with some amazing, beautiful people that are surgeons, but some of them, all they see is money and they do not care as long as their bottom line's good. So they need to have an advocate. I mean, that's why Chris Dunch got away with so much stuff because nurses and scrub techs and supporting staff are afraid to say anything to superiors about surgeons or doctors in general because that's our livelihood. If we start creating a stink, we get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I've had an experience like that. And I was glad that Sam was there, because otherwise I would have agreed to do whatever the surgeon wanted me to do, and that would have been a life changing experience. So, what you know, I won't go into it because we're over time, but maybe someday.
But yeah, you're valid, Tom. You just need to remember that you were placed in a position of authority because they believed, whoever is ahead of you, whoever hired you, believed that you were meant to be there. And that's all you need to know, is that your boss put you in that position because you were meant to be there. They had every faith that you were able to do your job, and your underlings should have that faith too. You speak to them like they're equals, because that's how you need to deal with the newer generations. But you let them know that you're still an authority. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to be like, I'm your boss, but you can pull someone aside and respectfully say, hey, I'm your boss. You can't talk to me like
Yeah.
that.
Or you could just tell them you know somebody from Northern Ireland and you got $500 and they'll come over and take care of it.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Do you mind if I don't take you up on that offer?
Yeah, okay. Well, no, I mean, just basically the statement. Sometimes just making that statement actually solves the problem. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that I would actually come over, but anyway. Anyway,
I think that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week. We didn't get to the EastEnders segment, but not a lot happened this
Whoa,
week.
party on.
Well, Tom obviously feels upset about it, so we can go ahead and
yeah,
talk about it. Well, nothing much happened this week, just more drama with like Denise is falling apart and Linda's still drunk.
okay, all right. Nothing of any consequence happened when Kat and Nish played tonsil hockey, and I almost boked all over the place.
Yeah, all right. Cat and Dish hooked up. We had Gina trying to get everyone, convince everyone that Dean was all right, and then of course he tried to R-word her, and that sort of changed his mind about him.
Yeah, it's so funny how that works.
Hmm.
Anyway, the worst part is over. Unless Kat is doing this, I don't even talk about it. When somebody tell the producers of EastEnders that you've got a friend in Northern Ireland, you got $500.
But yeah, apart from that, there wasn't really a lot happening this week. So that's we'll get to it next week. We'll just spend the entire show next week just talking about EastEnders to make up for it.
Yeah.
All right, so we will return next week, despite the hopes of many. It is good night from me, and it's good night from them. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night, people.